The Austrian Oliver Glasner has absolutely revolutionised Crystal Palace, winning 2 trophies, European football, beating the big boys. How has he done it? What's different to him and maybe Ruben Amorim's 3-4-3? We're going to take a look at the stats. It gives us a good overall picture of what Crystal Palace are doing in and out of possession. We're going to show you some real life little clips and still shots to give you an idea of how the team presses, how the team breaks, how the team attacks. We're then going to dive into FM, into that fantastic new in and out of possession, including the visualizer, super tool to use. And then we're going to finish with a game against Burnley, break it down and see how the tactic looks in Football Manager. Now, this is, I stress, a realistic tactic. I'm not trying to break the game. This is a basis for you to take Oliver Glasner as close as I can possibly get it, and then that's for you to take off and change and do whatever you want with, all right? But I'm trying to recreate Oliver Glasner's tactic as closely as possible. Let's get into it. But before we do, over 70% of you, by the way, thank you for everyone who's watched the recent videos, but over 70% of you have not subscribed to the channel, so do that right now. That'd be great. So this is just a few little stats to show you at the start of this season to kind of give us an indication of what Crystal Palace are doing. The first one we're going to do is set pieces. So they've only scored 4 goals. It's the 4th highest in division behind obviously Arsenal. But in terms of XG, they've actually created more chances from set pieces than Arsenal. Only just by 0.14, but still pretty damn good. As for passes, as you can see, they're ranking down in 3rd from bottom with only 3,291 compared to Man City, the top team. So they're way behind. So not an over-reliance on retaining possession. And the average possession, they're down in 17th with 42.4, as you can see. A clear indication that they're quite happy to sit off. And we've got a couple of clips to show you with that. Final third passes is interesting as well. Down in 3rd. So when they're getting into these areas, they're not retaining the ball as much. They're looking at definitely attacking with a little bit of directness. Forward passes, which you'd expect with kind of the other stats that we've covered. They're 3rd for pass direction, 35, nearly 36% of their passes are going forward. Their pressing numbers, as you can see, Bournemouth, Brighton, Wolves, interestingly, really high pressing side with a really decent PPDA. Down in 17th once again, West Ham, Sunderland, Burnley, sitting off more. So basically PPDAs, passes per defensive action. So the amount of times the teams pass before, they'll either go try and make a tackle or block, etc. Starting distance as well, so sort of starting distance away from their own goal, 40.1 metres. As you can see, it's quite tight in here, kind of like a low to mid block. Sequences, direct speed. So this is how quickly the team basically gets from back to front when they're attacking. And as you can see, there is a clear difference between them and Burnley. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be a huge punt up the pitch. They often obviously we know they like to play off Mateta, but there's other ways around it that I'm going to show you. A nice little pass that I'm going to show you that led to the first goal against Aston Villa a couple of weeks ago in the league. So with those stats there, we're kind of now building a picture of what maybe a Crystal Palace Oliver Glasner tactic looks like. So here we go. A couple of clips to show you. Now, this is from probably their arguably greatest Premier League result, or even at the same time performance, because they should have been maybe 3 or 4 up at halftime. So this initial clip here, the still shot, leads to the corner that then leads to the first goal, the second phase of a corner where Sarr taps it in. As you can see, 3-4-3 that we always speak about, but it's so different to maybe what a Manchester United one does. Obviously, they sit off deeper, number one. But interestingly, the thing that we're going to focus on particularly, and this is what makes it good for FM26 with the out of possession, is the two wide boys. In Sarr, here, and then Pino over here. As you can see, they're tucking, there's your midfield 4. So they're tucking in alongside their midfielders. What else do we notice is the compact shape of the team. Super compact, allowing nothing in those. Can you see there? If we just clear it, there's Florian Wirtz, McAllister, Isak. The ball's not going to go into there. Then passes are extremely risky to make and also at the same time, highly likely going to get cut out at the same time. So what they need to do is, teams always have to do because of the compactness of Crystal Palace, is that they need to work around. So there's a lot of switches in play, which gives Crystal Palace, if you're really structured, well organised like they are, the opportunity to then shuffle across in time. So this pass is going into Connor Bradley, who's over there. Now, what we don't want to do is watch the movement in the next still shot of Mitchell, who looks like he's getting pinned by Salah, and then Mark Guéhi. We haven't quite got Munoz in this still shot. He's out on this left-hand side, but they basically have this back 5. But what they do so well, if we move on to the next clip, By the time the ball's been played, look, the ball is in the air. Look at Mitchell now. He's managed to travel all that distance to get them closed down. And he actually wins the ball ahead of Bradley. He has that running in. But more importantly, look at Gay. He shuffled across. Mitchell's gone. He's gone across and then he's pinned himself on Mo Salah. And look, as you can see, his body movement, his body shape, he's shuffling across. And they've kind of then made a little bit of a back four. Mitchell's kind of gone into that midfield area, as you can see. Gay's kind of even moved across as a left back. Lacroix, Richards, and then Munoz would be now tucking in to make them a kind of like a flat back four. So that's what they do. And then from that, they counter-attack. Pino in, Mitchell in, a little underlapping run from Mitchell, played in, they win the corner, they score the goal. Interesting as well, one that's kind of hard to replicate a little bit in FM is Pino. We're asking him to stay narrow, which is still proving quite a little bit tricky, and we'll talk about that, and hopefully we'll see some stuff that we kind of like in the match engine. But Pino's role here, where he's extremely narrow, like any balls in here, any drop downs, if that was a challenge, header one, Pino's going to get the first dibs on that. Now, what we don't want to do is create him. One of the things that you might say is that the new out position rules, outlet midfielder, wide outlet, whatever it's called, that would seem a little bit too high for me. The idea is that he still stays very connected to his midfield and being exceptionally narrow. So just something that we need to be aware of. We might tweak. We're going to play in comprehensive highlights, so we might tweak. And then once again, look at Sarr here, the right midfielder, extremely narrow alongside his midfield. Pino's gone for a little press, and you see Kamada saying, hold your run. On to the next clip. It's now Kamada that goes and presses. Pino, once again, staying nice and wide. So if they want to play it out to the fullbacks, they can. Liverpool, to be fair, tried to counteract it a little bit with McAllister in here, another player. So instead of going through the lines, they then tried to change and go sort of like round the sides and try and get 2v1s with Kirkes down this left-hand side as well. So that was a little bit of a way around that teams might be able to get the better of Crystal Palace. But soon as there's a hesitation from Kanate, this is when he was at his worst, a winning possession, I think they should have gone on and scored. I think it was a tremendous save from Alisson in the end. Okay, so that's a little bit out of possession. In possession, 1-0 up. As you can see, anything with a high line, what we're going to try and create is a very simple 3-2-5. There's your three. You've got your two sitting midfielders. You've got your front line of kind of 5 stars, a little bit deeper. But you've got Munoz, who's even out a shot. You've got Mateta. You've got Pino and you've got Mitchell. So the idea is that we get the fullbacks extremely wide and then we're looking direct, playing in at times. They will still use Wharton. We know how good Wharton is in possession of the ball and then forward passes. And what I like about Wharton, that he tries and plays the ball forward. Crystal Palace very keen on playing the ball forward, not holding on possession for too long. But when you've got a team with a line like Liverpool have got there, the opportunity is to drop one in. And then when they play against a team with a lower block, so a low to mid block like Aston Villa doing in this clip, as you can see, the quality of Gahey, Mateta, there he is, showing feet, balls fired in. We've got Kamada, who's now playing as a 10, as you can see. Sarr's up there. You've got pretty much your line of 5. You've got your Munoz, your number 10, your striker, your number 10, and then Mitchell's out of here, out the shot, with your 2 sitters looking to get on any kind of second balls, good rest defence, always supporting behind the player. Like Manchester United do, we often see Bruno Fernandes moving ahead of and leaving kind of Casemiro by himself in more of a 3-1-6. Not the case here. These two are very much, can they sit in there, protect, keep the ball moving, circulate the ball out to the wide players as much as possible. Can you see the width as well? Munoz, the ball's on this left-hand side. Look at the width, super wide. So that's something that we definitely need to replicate. And then that led just a little give and go. Munoz, Gahey into Mateta, holds it up, and then plays a lovely through ball through to Kamada. As you can see, the defender's been caught. He'll go back to this shot here. He's moved in to try and close Mateta down. Hasn't got there quick enough. If he's going to do it, for me, it looks like it's maybe Konza needs to be in there, touch tight, because what you've allowed him to do there is get on the ball, leave it too late, make your decision. I've decided to go and press and try and cut it out. It doesn't. It's a lovely slip through ball. Kamada goes through and gets fouled by the goalkeeper. Penalty, 1-0 Palace. Okay, so into Football Manager. Now, my tactic will be available for the Patreons. Link down in the description if you want to support the channels. Like over 100 people in there now getting early access to content, tactic files. We're also going to be setting up a Patreon-only Discord as well, so everyone can share tactics, etc., and have a really good Football Manager mini community over there. So go check it out. Supports me as a creator. Muchly appreciated. If not, don't worry. But don't worry, we are going to go through all the team and player instructions at the end of the video. I'm going to give you a little rundown now of what I've put together and why. We're going to play the game against Burnley, and then we'll come back and really dive in. We've got a few key player instructions. We may even tweak the tactic, because I've played a couple of games at the start of the season. We may even tweak the tactic again. So let's focus on the in possession, because it may be a little bit easy. What we want is, there's your 3, there's your 4, there's your 3. We've got 2 defenders. Now I've put Gay as let's just flip them around. We've got Gay as that ball playing defender, so BCB. We've just put Lacroix as the bog standard centre-back. And then we've got Richards as a wide centre-back. Munoz is, even though Mitchell gets high, I've put Mitchell as an advanced wing-back. Munoz is definitely the more attacking one. So it does mean that Richards really has to come across at times and cover this wide area a little bit more. I think if a team's going to counter-attack Crystal Palace, it's probably in behind Munoz when he gets so far forward. 2 wing-backs. We've gone AWs, wing-backs. We've got a few player instruction in there as well that we'll talk about at the end. But 2 advanced wing-backs. We need to get them in that line of 5 as much as possible. We've put Wharton as the deep line playmaker. And then Kamada, to be fair, could also probably be a little bit of a playmaker as well, but double playmaker is a little bit too much. So we've just gone bog standard defensive midfielder. And then the 2 10s, we've gone Pino as an attacking midfielder. And I've just gone Sarr as a channel. Now, to be honest, if you're wanting to change stuff, you could quite easily change these 21s you want. He likes to be a free roll, obviously, Pino. And Sarr, what would he prefer? We know he kind of prefers, look, he's very much can do it all. I just thought that channel midfielder gives us that running off the ball. And Pino maybe having that little bit more creativity. I did think Sarr's sort of like pace, speed would maybe help playing as a channel midfielder. So that's what we've got to set up in. And if we look at the visualizer, that's what we're trying to recreate a little bit. So when the ball's on the left, we're trying to play. We've got our back 3, maybe the Gay moving in, stepping in a little bit, the 2 defensive midfielders, and we're getting the 2 wide players, 2 wing backs as high as possible. Now, out of possession, I've changed it a couple of times. Like, as you can see, from the in to the out, I've actually moved Wharton and Kamada up. And I've done that so we could get a better line of 4. We may change it mid-game if I think the 2 defenders are getting a little bit too high. So the 2 midfielders are getting a little bit too high, and we'll drop them in. But what I have done is, more importantly, put them as, by the way, I forgot to say, Mateta target forward, obvious. Kamada, Wharton, screening midfielders. So we don't want them going out and pressing all over the place. They're very much going to sit in front of that back 3. I have just played Pino as a OWM outlet, and he was just a little bit too high for me. It didn't do what I kind of wanted it to do, like we saw with the Liverpool break. So we're just going to put that back to a wide midfielder. We don't want to do tracking, because when you do tracking, it ends up bringing him here and you end up playing with like a flat 6, a flat 7. We want him to stay alongside the 2 midfielders as much as possible. We've got a few team instructions out of possession as well, which will help us with that. 2 pressing fullbacks, because we want that switch. Remember the switch, Van Dijk to Bradley, and then Mitchell came out. So we've gone 2 pressing fullbacks. Covering centre-back for Richards, and then I'm testing today. I've just done the stoppers, and they were coming in a little bit too much, and we were getting played round. So we're going to have a little go at covering wide centre-backs and just see what they do. It may be a little bit too much. I tell you what, no, we're not. We're just going to keep it bog standard, because I think naturally, Gay, if Mitchell gets caught out here, Gay's going to naturally cover around there. I think we'll keep that as it is. I think we'll go just bog standard centre-backs and see how we get on. Interestingly, for Mateta, though, we have gone tracking for centre-forward, because he helps his defence out. But what we do want him to do is be that first point of contact. Now, if we change him to like an outlet, he's going to stay too high, and he does drop in. It means that any ball, sort of like duels, any 50-50s, headers out, punches out from the goalkeeper, he's in a better position for me. If we go back to the visualizer, he's in a better position for me to get hold of the ball. So you imagine any headers out, clearances out, and if it goes over his head, we can kind of still squeeze a little bit. But what we didn't want is him just staying up here and having that big gap between the 2, because that's when he gets isolated. So I've decided to bring him back. If we think it's a little bit overkill, I would maybe just go to centre forward, but he likes to track. Look, he's comfortable with it, so we'll go with that. Right, we're going to play Burnley first. First league game, a second league game of the season. We've actually just played a few in the Europa League. We got absolutely smashed. So 5-1 in the game against Liverpool. Didn't great start, but we have just beaten Brighton in the league 4-3. We'll show you a couple of goals. I think 2 of Brighton's as well came from set pieces. Right, so here we go. Here's the possession. So as you can see, we've got 3-2-5, 3 defenders, 2 holders. We've got our wing backs nice and wide. Could be a little bit wider, so I have tweaked the instruction there since this game. And then we're playing through. Quite direct. Ushi's playing one of the 10s, interestingly. Wharton, good combination. But look at the bodies we've got in there. Wing backs in there, 2 10s in there, but we've also got really good cover. So if the ball's cleared out now, the 2 midfielders in Kamada and Wharton, we're really asking them to be in a good area to protect the ball if it comes out. Kind of second wave of attack. Pressing quickly in those areas. Second goal, ball into the 10. Munoz, back stick, wing back to wing back. That is what we want. Manchester United don't do that enough. That's a huge problem of theirs. Here we go, Munoz, down the line, all the way in. Bodies in the box. Lots of chances. Lots of chances in the big games against Manchester City in the FA Cup and also against Liverpool in the league and the Charity Shield, Community Shield. So many chances from these areas. So that's what we're going to hopefully recreate today, is getting Munoz in, Mitchell in down his left-hand side, and in these little slip passes, can we get the 3 10s in? They don't often sit on the edge of the box. Their job is to get into the penalty area, allow Wharton, Hughes, the other 6 Kamada to back up from the edge of the area. You need to get yourselves in the box. And luckily, I think the attacking midfielder and the channel midfielder in possession instructions do that superbly well. We were actually 4-1 up as well. Once again, tight. Teams like to be compact, but that means that we've got a nice little outlet out here if needed. Didn't need him, but there was Munoz. Oosh comes in. Nice little combinations. Remember that combination between Kamada and Mateta and Gay? Gay into Mateta, play off Mateta, into Kamada, who then drives into the penalty area to win the penalty. Quite similar with that goal there. Right, so T-wise, frustrating because when I normally do these tactical recreations, I normally have the in-game editor just so I can wipe out any injuries. We're not that lucky today because it's the beta not got the in-game editor for this one. Sar's injured, so what we're going to have to do is move Pino over to the right. We're going to move Kamada over to the left. Now, interesting, you see the stars that are coming up because it only changes one thing, and that's changed the out of position. We're going to bring Will Hughes in, and then once again, we'll change these over. Says Kamada, there we go. Nicely, we're set up nicely now. So Kamada's going to do the sort of like the 10. Pino's now going to do the other 10. That's going to be a little bit more of a driver. Hughes is going to sit alongside Wharton in that middle double pivot. So Burnley going with a 4-2-3-1. It'll be interesting because this is going to be a game that we have a lot of possession, I would have thought. So we're going to go from tactical and broadcast. They're the two ones. Gives us a nice indication of where players are at certain points. Right, into we go. So we just want return possession. Let's get rid of that. So immediately, Munoz has come actually a little bit deeper, but look at Mitchell on this left-hand side. Super wide, super high. Pino now getting involved. Munoz now on that overlap. Beautiful. We're in. Can we cut in? We have done. Mateta's there. Should have scored. Should have scored. Let's just tell you what, to give you guys, I'd be interested to know, let me know down in the comments, which tactical kind of camera do you like to see? That was obviously the tactical camera. I just think sometimes when you go broadcast, we're just a little bit too close. But we'll do a little bit of a mixture at times. Maybe replay highlights in different camera angles. But you can see there we're super tight. Like we have given away a free kick. They might as well just stay on the tactical camera. It's easier. Can you see we're super compact? Mitchell, Gay, Lacroix. We've got our back 5 in there. And then midfielders. By the looks of it, he's just stepped out. His Kamada. But we're extremely compact in there, look. Team instructions for that, out of possession, super important. I would have loved some sort of like inverted winger for like the out of possession as well, that they come in really narrow. You know, a lot of teams, Arsenal sometimes going really narrow. We know Atletico Madrid go really narrow. Crystal Palace go really narrow. But at the moment, what we've asked in the team instructions has kind of helped. You can't ask them to sit narrow out of possession. Right, I have asked my keeper to play. He is comfortable in possession, Henderson. I'm confident enough to play it. Can we find that forward pass, Mark Gay? We've got one forward into Hughes. Nice. Mitchell, the outlet. Need that little run. Kamada finds a nice bit of space. Good. Switch it out wide. This is nearly beautiful. Good move though. And now we've lost possession. So you can see we're not pressing too high. I've asked Mateta, remember he's going to be the tracker look. So immediately now he's coming to sit in. Mitchell's going to go and engage in here. This is the only little thing that I would prefer to go the other way that we can't do. Is, I suppose we could have a go, you know. We could get the two wing backs. Let's just try it on this left-hand side. So could Mitchell, go into the player instructions, out of possession, could he mark Kyle Walker? It's not allowing me to do it. Now it is. The right back. Still not working great, that. But there we go. Because really what we want is Mitchell, like he did with Conor Bradley, go and engage with the right back. The midfielder's tucked in like as an inverter. And then it allows maybe Kamada to be a little bit narrow. So he's got it nice and narrow there. That's good. But here, this is the one. This is the one that we want to try and recreate. So I'm hoping when we make the tactical changes now, after this highlight, that we'll see Mitchell hopefully going out there and engaging. We'll leave Munoz free on the other side. And I'm just hoping because of the defensive line we've dropped off, my initial worry is that it was going to be like Gasparini's wing backs when they go super high. But because we're in a mid block, it should mean that they don't press until, you know, the ball is in their area. We're not going to go and close them down from build up. It's a lovely take from Munoz. Pino, Mateta, good positioning into Kamada. Oh, that's a lovely turn. Free kick. Loving the target forward, by the way. My favourite striker role at the moment. We scored a goal, 1-0. I wasn't talking because it was from a set piece, but we've whipped in the corner. Remember, Crystal Palace, the most dangerous from set pieces in terms of XG this season. I think they were very similar last season as well. Up we get. Who scored it? Chris Richards. He is a big boy. There we go. 1-0. We'll take that. We have got play for set pieces on, obviously. Right. I wonder if there's now going to be a switch in play. Bring it this way, Humphreys. Mitchell's kind of looking at him a little. He had a little look at him there to say, I'm going to come out there. Yeah, he's keeping an eye out. It's great that the Burnley have brought their players in narrow. They've worked it really well here, Burnley. The defending is still a little bit passive in the game because we're nice and compact there. But when we do go in there, we really want to press and hunt and be aggressive. We might even... I don't know if it's a little bit overkill. I can't do it anymore because Get Stuck In's already on, boys. Dear me. But you know what I mean? It feels a little bit passive at times, the defending. Right, here we go. Mitchell, Wharton. Gay supporting. Sorry about the floodlights. Bader Bug. Will Hughes, a little bit further forward, but he's going to have a shoot. That's good. Probably won't venture into the penalty area much. Often their heat maps, I'll put them on screen now, the heat maps against Liverpool, Wharton and Kamada, very much supporting behind the player. Right, we've won possession back high. Wharton, Munoz, down this right-hand side. Deliver. Bodies in the box, please. We're working nicely. This is nice. Mateta's flicks on. Oh, I need to be a header down for someone to get the seconds. We start quite high. We're not high. This isn't a high press. This is what you've always got this out ball here. Always got this out ball. Munoz, get in there, Mitchell. Seconds. Kamada's tucked inside. I know it didn't come out there, but I think Mitchell was ready to trigger. Kamada's still done it. Come on, Mitchell. Keeper's ball. Right, Gay in possession. So that's maybe the only thing that we can't get at the moment is that. Or maybe we start the wing backs high. That could be another option in certain games. Let's have a little go. Out of possession, we just move them up. I wonder what that'll look like in game. So I'm giving you ideas here, boys. Obviously, the tactic hasn't changed yet, but just giving you ideas and variations that you might want to do from game to game. You know, we're really keen. They're going really narrow. You know, Mitchell should really be looking after Kyle Walker. They're playing with two very narrow, sort of like wide players. There we go. Brilliant position of Mateta. That's where we want him. And he's very good at holding on possession. Then you get runners off him. The 210s go beyond. It's then a sort of like a trigger for the two wide players, the two wing backs to get extremely high. They often try that little ball out wide as well. There we go, that little switch out wide. Good. Pinos, that's very much a SAR channel run. We're in. This would have been a good goal. Unlucky. Playing well, boys. In possession stuff, brilliant. The out of possession is so tricky because there's so many different kind of tweaks and changes that teams make when the ball's on one side of the pitch. Like, for instance, what I like to do is with my wide players when I'm coaching, if you're playing in a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, the ball's at the opposition's right back, the left winger will go and press, but I like my right midfielder to come right in to be a third central midfielder. And we're still a little bit of time off kind of recreating that in FM. Man marking hasn't worked, boys. Thanks FM. Absolute shambles. Right, I've done it again. We'll see if it works. Good break again. Will Hughes in a really good position there. I think the only thing Crystal Palace fans let me know, thing that's going to struggle is the amount of games. The squad depth isn't great, especially at right wing back. I think you've got Nathaniel Klein, Tyreek Mitchell's. They've got Sosa, is it, on that left-hand side? That hasn't played a great deal. A lot of late substitute appearances. Squad depth. Mateta gets injured. Nketiah is a completely different player. I wonder if they'd maybe play Uche up there, who I covered in a video the Borderlast video for Getafe. He's come from there. He could probably do the Mateta role and has often played there for Getafe. And that's one of the reasons why they probably signed him. Okay, let's see now when the ball comes across. Yeah, there we go. We've done it. So the marking instruction maybe does work. And that allows Kamada to be super narrow. So he's nicked in there on Cullen. So it's worked absolutely perfectly. Beautiful. We're breaking nicely again here. Oh, I should have scored. Right, it's set up absolutely perfectly. Now, what you might want to change is, with it being FM, attacking teams always work. So you might want to obviously increase the line a little bit. You risk, we're only unbalanced at the moment, but it's really good. Playing some nice stuff as well. Cross in, Mateta, unlucky. Set pieces, well, I don't think we've done set pieces. I haven't changed anything in the set piece, but really you want to be putting long throws in. Right, we're in the second half. We've just won it, so we're breaking again. Munoz down this right-hand side. Such a good player. Cross. Ooh, cross the other wing-back. Love this. We've scored 2-0. Wing-back to wing-back again. Mateta getting a little bit of the rebound. They get these a lot to Crystal Palace. Cutbacks. The Sarr goal, I know it was from a sort of like a second phase of a corner, but it was winning sort of like the second ball in the penalty area, flooding the box, getting players in really dangerous positions. Look, it's come back after goalie, and there's Mateta to stab home. 2-0. We're absolutely cruising, boys. Look, Burnley as well. They've had 62% of the ball. We've had 38, and we've absolutely... it is Burnley. So we're not going to get carried away, obviously, but the stats are showing us that we're absolutely dominating the game here. They've had an XG of 0.37 to our 2.2. Will it score you 1,000 goals in a season and get you 100 points? Probably not. But if you want to do a Glasner tactic, and then, you could maybe even use this as a secondary tactic, holding on to a lead maybe a little bit, but still looking to really push on. I think what we'll do is with the actual save file for the Patreons, it'll be that flat back five, but then really keen on when you're then playing a team, having that man marking on maybe the fullbacks. I think that's what we'll look at doing a little bit. Getting you two fullbacks to man mark the other team, the opposing fullbacks or wingbacks, whatever they're playing with. Mitchell's gone for a dance here. Unlucky. Instant result. Fingers crossed it don't go to pot. There we go. 2-0. Really good, convincing win. We're seeing really good little clips and snippets there of exactly what we wanted to put in the game. Now, last thing, we are going to go through all the team and player instructions for you. As I said, this tactic file is available down in the description if you want to join the Patreon. Would muchly appreciate it, but don't worry, we're going to go through all of it right now. Couple of little things we're going to look at. So in possession, ball playing goalkeeper for Henderson. No other player instructions. Richards, wide centre-back, with Lacroix centre-back, Gay, ball centre. What was it? Ball centre? What's it called? Ball playing centre back now? Ball playing centre back. They've just cut out the P. Now, what I might do in certain games as well, if he's got that space in front to drive, is just dribble more. Because he's good at carrying the ball. So we're going to have that on for Gay. Munoz, both wing backs. We've got the trigger press more often, as you can see. Let's go in possession. But we really want that to stay wider. So on both players, stay wider. And on this side as well, stay wider for Mitchell. The only two player instructions there. Wharton DLP. Now, sometimes I haven't done it, but if you've got a player that's not great at carrying the ball, then, you know, you can maybe put on the player instruction, which would be dribble less. You could have that on. We've then got Hughes as the DM. Channel midfielder for the right side with the AM. Now, you're free to change them around a little bit to whatever you want. I do want that inside run. When Munoz is going so wide, it's great that we get Pino on that inside. And then Kamada's just the AM with target forward for Mateta. Now, the team instruction, super important for in possession, passing direct more, higher tempo, counter-attacking, obviously, attacking width wider. Want the players, you know, if you're finding they're not getting wide enough, then wing backs, maybe even put it up to ultra wide. Play for set pieces. We're going to bypass the press. We're not going to overplay. Remember the possession numbers, total number of passes, very low in the Premier League. So we're going to try and bypass that press and get that ball in. We're still asking the kick to go in short because we still got that overload. I'd rather maybe Gay playing it in than kind of Henderson launching it. He will still naturally launch it anyway at times. Play to the centre-backs. The other one we've done there is try and progress the play through the middle. Discourage shots from distance because I've just found us, in general in FM, more of an FM thing at the moment, the beta, just too many shots from outside the area and really they should be playing another pass. Out of possession. So remember, your choice. I'm going to keep the flat back 5 for the save file. But remember, you always want to go in here and then press out of possession. It's not great. It's a little bit clunky at the moment. But I'm hoping when the main game drops, like if it doesn't appear, it's appeared this time. So then go in and just mark the opposite fullback. That will get us that nice little shift across as much as possible. It might be a little bit tricky depending on when the teams are playing with really wide wingers. You know, Burnley narrowed that right midfielder in, that right winger, narrowed him in. So you'll just something you have to work on game by game. That's why extended highlights is so much better when you're trying to replicate these tactics. Covering centre back for Lacroix. Quite happy with Gay and Richards in that game, so we're going to keep them as the bog standard centre half. 2 screening midfielders because we don't want them out here losing that narrowness. With the 2 wide midfielders, I don't think there's anything in there that I would really change out of possession for them. Trigger press, no. Marking, no. Mark tighter, no. I'm kind of happy with that. What you could maybe do is get them, you know, if there's that overloading, you want them even tighter. You could get, because Kamada's on this left-hand side, you could, if they're playing, say, like a standard 4-3-3, you could ask Kamada maybe to man-mark the right central midfielder, and that would probably pull him in a little bit more. But we saw that in the clips anyway. I think he won one from Cullen, I think we mentioned. Really good move, good break. So that's something that you could do. And then up front, well, by the way, Henderson sweeper keeper because he's good at coming off his line. And then tracking forward for Mateta. All right, guys, let me know what you think. I hope you've enjoyed it. It is 51 minutes long, this video, according. There will be some edits, but it's a big video. I hope you've enjoyed. I've tried to cover as much as I possibly can to give you a base to work from. This will not score you 1,000,001 goals. That is not the plan. The plan is for you guys to understand how a team sets up in real life. And then you go off and make changes, put it on attacking, press I, do whatever you want. But this is the best Oliver Glasner tactic you will see on FM26.